thinking, and I don't think you meant any of those nice things you said about the Canucks. No, I meant some of them. Yeah, it just felt like a reverse dangle jinx. Okay, I'll admit that it was, but I'll also admit that now it seems like overkill. Let's go! Why not? The Toronto Maple Leafs! I guess my brand is a yell and scream. I don't script these. Are the Leafs alright? So what you get is from the heart. Welcome to LFR. Alright, Iggy, start the clock. Victory, puppies! Aren't you happy that the Leafs won? It's true, they got 3 straight against Vancouver, and now they're 10-2-1 on the season. Can I get a high five? Can I get a... Come on, give me a high five. There you go. Hey, perfect timing. In the amount of time it took Iggy to give me a high five, that's how long it took the Canucks to screw up that game. Leafs win! 3-1 over the Vancouver Canucks, sweeping the 3-game series. The Leafs winning those games by 4 again, and 2 goals, outscoring the Canucks 15-5 overall. Oh, let's talk about the game, and let's open with rarity, and the first time I've pulled this out this season. Canucks fans, if I were you, I would look at that game, the outcome of it, as the most pivotal game of the season. Because despite everything, the Canucks are still just 2 points out of a playoff spot in Canada. Granted, they've played 2 more games than the Edmonton Oilers, who are 2 points up on them, and 5 more games than the Flames, who are only 1 point behind. But you can come back from this situation. It's not over in February. There are a lot of seasons where it is over in February. This isn't one of them. The Canucks are the only team in the league to play 16 games so far this season, by far the most. You can't tell me that hasn't played a factor in how poor they've looked. Here's the good news and the bad. Boy, do they remind me of the Leafs of yesteryear. Spotty goaltending, shoddy defense, and the young guys are expected to do way too much, and overall, this is a team that seems way deep inside their own head. But it's the deep inside their own head part that makes me go, this is salvageable. Some teams just don't have any talent. The Canucks clearly have talent. They seem to be second-guessing themselves an awful lot, and if every Canuck gave the effort that Niels Hoglander does on every shift, I think they'd be top 3 in the division. But here is why I called this game the most pivotal game of the season. They were the better team, and they did most things right. And honestly, that might have been the Leafs' worst game of the season. Seriously, it was at least top 3, or bottom 3, I guess. If going forward the Canucks play like they did last night, they should win more than they lose. The big question going forward is, will the team's leadership be able to get that message through to the rest of the room, or will they continue to have the same sad puppy dog look in their eyes that they did in this game and the previous 2? Out of the 7 teams in Canada, there are 3 that are above 500 right now. 3! There is a playoff team that is 500 right now. Don't tell me the Canucks can't pull this off. That's what I would do if I were you now. Leaf fans, take the points and run! The Canucks were doing absolutely everything they should have been doing in the first 2 games. They were playing with speed, they were playing with purpose, they were playing with an actual forecheck. They didn't take any penalties. They nailed Travis Boyd early on because he's been an annoying gnat for the first 2 games, and they actually got a handful of stops from their goaltender. There was one oopsie-daisy with Hoglander taking a puck to the face and, oh my god, there's so much blood, get the camera off him! But other than that, they had a very good period. The Leafs only had 4 shots on goal in the first period, and 25% of them, that's only 1 shot on goal, for those of you who understood math perfectly fine until they started introducing letters to the whole thing, went in right here on this play. The Leafs, finally with a little bit of sustained offensive zone pressure. Mitch Marner flying around the zone, stalking his prey, takes a shot on block by Alex Edler, who's actually doing a very good job shadowing him. But Marner gets the puck right back. That's the first bit of bad luck for the Canucks on this play. In the confusion, because the Leafs are doing an amazing job of just going all over the place like a kaleidoscope on the Canucks on this play, confusing them, Mitch Marner takes another shot. That one is blocked in front by Nate Schmidt, who's having a hard time dealing with Zach Hyman. And for at least the 3rd time in as many games, the Canucks have a goal scored against them because a defender left to go do something else and the forwards did not come back to help. Because Alex Edler was doing a good job at the point with Mitch Marner. He was doing a good job. It's not his fault. Nate Schmidt goes to kick the puck wide. It would have been safe. It would have been the greatest idea 9 times out of 10, but nobody picks up Morgan Riley, snipes on Braden Holtby, and all of a sudden the Leafs' second shot of the game goes in, and that's how we're starting. It's 1-0 Leafs. This is funny. I know how I sound right now. It's like I can't enjoy the Leafs being good. I only know how to talk about a struggling team, and I'm mad for the Canucks. And despite the fact that after the first period the shots are 13-4 for the Canucks, it's a 1-0 Leaf lead. LOL, said this Leafs fan. Don't worry, everything should be fine. In fact, in my I've watched far too much hockey brain, I'm like, here's what's going to happen in the second period. The Leafs are going to drastically outshoot the Canucks, but it'll be the Canucks who end up tying it. LOL, said the hockey gods. The Canucks will tie it. You were right on that, but the Leafs will actually play worse. Nearly halfway through the second period, the Canucks still without a penalty in this game. The Leafs take their second. Austin Matthews with an interference call on Olli Juolevi that just doesn't need to happen. Speaking of things that didn't need to happen, this is Alexander Kerfoot with the puck on the Leafs penalty kill. Somehow, this doesn't get cleared. He completely bobbles the puck, doesn't manage to clear it. Brock Besser screams into the Leafs zone, hands it off to Quinn Hughes. Great pass over to Elias Pettersson, who has one of the best shots in the league. Snipe on Freddie Anderson. It's a 1-1 game. Can you identify the guy who knows he screwed up? I'll give you a hint. It's Alexander Kerfoot right there in the middle of the screen. That would make the shots 22-5, and folks, I think there might be a problem. Now, in fairness, the Leafs would roar back at the end of the second, getting 2 shots on goal after that goal was scored. Dude, the shots were 27-7 after 2 periods, and I have a bad feeling the Leafs are about to lose this game, and it will be so typically Leafs, won't it? 2 dominant, incredibly dominant games over the Vancouver Canucks before ending the 3-game series with arguably their worst game of the season. Just when everyone is talking about them like they're a legit team, like they're one of the best teams, not only in Canada, but in the entire league, that is when they will lay the biggest mother goosiest egg of the season. Oh, to be a fly on the wall of the Leafs locker room during the second intermission, I can only imagine what was said. I'm just imagining the conversation between Sheldon Keefe and John Tavares. Guys, you know what? Sheldon's right. And Sheldon was right. And he actually started playing like the holy smoking Toronto Maple Leafs. What was that in the first 2? I know I said all those encouraging things about the Vancouver Canucks in the beginning to try to make Canucks fans feel better, but at the end of the day, if the Leafs are actually trying and playing their best, they should win. For as good as the Canucks were in the first 2 periods, and you don't outshoot an opponent 27-7 in the first 2 frames by getting lucky, the Leafs were awful. And underratedly so, Freddie Anderson is pitching a gem. The Leafs have been so much better at limited on-man rushes, but what was that? What, Gaudets? That Freddie robbed him! This is exactly the kind of performance the Leafs need out of Freddie Anderson. The sort of game where the Leafs aren't on top of their game, they're not playing very well, but their goalie steals one. He didn't even need to steal the whole game. He needed to steal the opening 40 minutes, and he did. It's a 1-1 tie, and it very shouldn't be. But when the puck dropped for the beginning of the third period, Freddie Anderson was out-dueling Braden Holtby. Wonder if anyone stared him down. The Leafs begin the third period and they're looking much better. And hey, look at that! It's an offensive zone possession where Rasmus Sandin is involved. Did I mention this is Rasmus Sandin's first game of the season? It is, because the Leafs decided to go with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen, and it didn't work all that well, but we'll talk about it a little bit more later. Sandin with the puck at the point. Nice hard pass down low to Mitch Marner, who fires it to Austin Matthews. And hey, do you want to see how not to defend the best goal scorer in the NHL? By gawking at him like you're at a Shakespearean theater of the round experience. By just standing around him like he's being sacrificed at Stonehenge. By staring at him like you're at the halftime show at the Super Bowl because Florida doesn't care. What is this? Blast it home. Austin Matthews with his 11th of the season, goals in 8 straight up goofiness, and it's a 2-1 Leaf lead in a game where they very don't deserve it. And the Canucks know this, and gosh darn it, guys, we deserve to be winning this game. So how do they answer? With their best shift of the period and of the game. And by that, I mean, right off the ensuing faceoff, Quinn Hughes gets the puck and he takes it back into his own zone because he's being chased and pursued by Ilya Mikheyev, doing a very good job. Rather than pass the puck around the net to Tyler Myers just to get out of trouble, he decides to turn back up his own side of the ice, and there's no one there. Except for the big old soup spoon of Ilya Mikheyev, who pokes it off his stick and steals it. Now, it's a problem. And this might be the Vancouver Canucks problem in a nutshell, because yes, this is Quinn Hughes' giveaway, but not only was Alexander Kerfoot left wide open in front, if he hadn't got the puck first, Jason Spezza would have. How do you break down this quickly? Kerfoot is the one who snipes it home for his second of the season. Huge goal, not just for the context of the game, but Ilya Mikheyev finally getting another point, and Alexander Kerfoot finally getting another goal. Big performance. They needed it badly out of this line, out of the Leafs' depth. There are too many injuries for the third line not to be contributing, and they do, big time right here. And Canucks fans, when I said the Canucks are starting to remind me of the Leafs of yesteryear, it's this. It's little things like this. You put together a relatively solid effort, and you fart it out of your ears and nose. I have a beautiful way with words. Book me for a Valentine on Cameo. But the Leafs got to be careful, because the Canucks were the better team in the first period. They were the betterer team in the second period. They're going to come aggressive aggressively in the third because they're losing. Except they didn't. They only managed 5 shots, and the Leafs managed to shut them down. That's the end of the game. Despite the penalty and everything, Alexander Barabanov with a penalty, and it never really felt like the Canucks even got close. The Leafs improved to 10-2-1, and Austin Matthews, can we pause for another moment for the guy who scored the game winner? Austin Matthews extended his goal streak to 7 games and has found the back of the net in each of his last 8 appearances. Did he score in his own net once? I'm very confused. Only 2 players in the last 25 years have had a longer run of consecutive games played with a goal. Teemu Selanne in there, Jaromir Jagr, and this was in an era that had far more goal scoring. Matthews, 3rd in there, tied with Jason Spezza? I'm going to sound real old right here, but for all you kids out there who can't understand why people with gray in their hair enjoy Jason Spezza so much, it's because he used to be really sick, and he's still scoring hat tricks. It's stupid. Now, obviously, the goal scorer gets all the glory, and it's the hardest thing to do in the sport, to score goals. Mitch Marner is not getting nearly enough love. The dude is 3rd in league scoring. 3rd. He is one of 3 players in the league to have over 20 points, and the other 2 are Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And you can make any excuse for the amount of points he has on anything, but I found this picture posted on the Leafs Twitter account very interesting. Austin Matthews had just scored what would go on to be the game-winning goal. Look who every single Leaf is looking at. Matthews, obviously. He got the setup from Marner. Sandin, Hyman, Brody, I think. I can't tell because he's behind Matthews. They're all looking at that smiling child who is 3rd in league scoring. Mitch Marner, he's good. He's very good. Questions, some of them from Instagram this time. Follow me on Instagram, Steve Dangle, all one word. Which of these 3 losses stings the most if you're Vancouver? Ooh, I like this because as a longtime Leaf fan, let me tell you there's a big difference between losses that sting the most and losses that are the most concerning. This loss stings the most. It was the loss where the Canucks had the best chance of winning and were arguably the better team and should have won. That stings. The most concerning was they followed up a 7-3 loss with a game that was somehow even worse, losing 5-1. That to me was the most concerning. This one stings the most though. Being a Leaf fan in the UK usually came with the anger associated with staying up until 3 a.m. to watch your favorite team lose. I like this season. Stayed up for every game and haven't been too disappointed. The buds are on fire. That wasn't a question, but I just love to give love to all the UK viewers and European viewers and all over the world viewers because I don't know how you do it. You are the real Leaf fans. And just below that comment was an actual question. What do you think of the revolving door 4th line? So, in this game, Sheldon Keefe decided to go with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. I do not have a problem with that, and in fact, think that was the right move. You need to eventually get Rasmus Sandin into a game, and you want to ease him in. What is the perfect way to do that? Have 7 defensemen. It's great. Here's the problem with your question. It wasn't a revolving door 4th line. It was a revolving door 2nd line, which is wild. Why would you do that? When I heard they were going to go 11 forward 7D, I'm like, oh, okay, it'll be a revolving door 4th line. It's announced before the game that it's going to be just a committee replacement on the 2nd line next to John Tavares and William Nylander. What? I think the first 2 periods speak for themselves and how poorly that went. You do not have a revolving door on your 2nd line. I don't mind if you have specialty scenarios after the power play, after the penalty kill. Every now and then you load up the top line to have Tavares, Matthews, and Marner. But to have a committee on the 2nd line did not work, and I don't think will work going forward. I'm surprised they never took a too many men on the ice call. I never once thought that Toronto was going to lose that game. Is this what healing feels like? No, this is what confidence feels like. Healing is what you're going to need when you have confidence in a game and then the Leafs blow it and then you gotta recover. I am just, listen, I know my whole thing is to be very loud. I get that. And the Leafs are 10-2-1 and I want to be very loud. But you see, I'm terrified, you see. So I'm just sort of sitting here going, I'm very happy. But this is what being a Leaf fan has done to me. I'm the sort of person who actually does not turn their phone on until the plane is fully stopped because, I don't know, what if it's my fault? Because it could end up being my fault. I went to Catholic school in elementary and I think it explained a lot about me. Catholic and Canadian. All I do is apologize. Add in Leafs fan to that, the biggest house in Oshawa belongs to my therapist. But I tell you what, 10-2-1 in the Leafs' first 13 games, his pockets are a little lighter right now. And one last thing, obviously, is a follow-up to last game. Wayne Simmons out for 6 weeks. That is a huge deal, a big deal, with a broken wrist. But the good news is it does sound like Joe Thornton is coming back soon. I would imagine he'll factor into the top 6, but I'm not entirely sure how just yet. But for now, folks, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'm going to keep going. Tell all your friends that there's a brand new podcast that's up on SDPN. That's a YouTube channel, and it's also available everywhere else. And you can enjoy that. You can just enjoy those things. I hope you do. I'm sorry.